Alright, now that we're back with our regular theory content, I've been thinking about the somewhat recent announcement of Robert Downey Jr. returning to the MCU as Doctor Doom. So how does Doctor Doom fit into the MCU? I've been brainstorming various scenarios that could answer this question, so let's just jump right into it. But before we do though, don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, and this is a spoiler warning for the MCU so far, and potentially parts of the future as well, if one of my theories are correct. And I'll add chapters for all my thoughts and side tangents, so you can skip around as you wish. Alright, so, first up, the MCU's Doctor Doom could make an appearance in the new Fantastic Four movie, set to drop in theaters next year, 2025. I've seen reports that Galactus will be the big bad of the movie, but that doesn't mean Doom won't be in it. Let's just hope Marvel does a better job with Galactus than they did with MODOK. Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four go together like peanut butter and bananas. Frankly, I'll be shocked if Doom isn't in the movie. You need to set up your villain of Avengers Doomsday enough to rival Thanos, and I feel like the stakes will just not be present if Doom's first MCU movie is Avengers Doomsday. There's nowhere to build up to. And without the looming shadow of the antagonist in the background, the threat just isn't there. Just look at Thanos. We knew of his MCU existence all the way back in the post-credits scene of Avengers 1. No speaking role and minimal information given to the audience. At the time, we knew someone sent Loki to collect the Tesseract, a powerful artifact which was pretty easy to guess that it would end up being the Space Stone, one of the 6 Infinity Stones. But remember, at the time, it was the only Infinity Stone known in the MCU, and we didn't even find out the truth until the post-credits scene of Thor: The Dark World a whole year after the first Avengers movie.
Why not keep it secure in your own vault?
The Tesseract is already on Asgard. It is not wise to keep 2 Infinity Stones so close together.
That's very wise.
From that point on, all we knew was that Thanos was after the stones. And as time went on, more and more stones were popping up in the MCU, and yet Thanos rarely made a move. He sent pawns to get the stones for him until it became clear that that wasn't going to work. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy, another post-credit scene in Age of Ultron, and then nothing until Infinity War. The point is, we knew he was a powerful player in the background. We knew he had enough sway for entire armies to fight for him, and his reputation preceded him through the lore drops in Guardians of the Galaxy. Thanos was a looming threat that we were all excited to see rival our heroes, and the fact that we knew Avengers Infinity War and Endgame were going to be a 2-part movie, it wasn't a surprise to see Thanos win at the end of Infinity War, forcing our heroes into their low points so they can crest back upwards to ultimate success. Thanos was a hyped up antagonist done right. Now let's look at Kang the Conqueror. Instead of keeping us in the dark until it's time to show us what kind of threat he is, Marvel announced that not only is Kang the next big bad, but we need to watch the Disney Plus shows to fully understand what's going on. Kinda scummy, but you gotta chase that bag, even if you are part of the largest and most lucrative corporate shill on the planet, I guess. So we're told outright, hey, this guy's a big deal. We then see Kang at the end of Loki Season 1, which was a surprising reveal. I'll give them that, and Loki is by far one of the best things to come out of Marvel as of recently. Although, this Kang, He Who Remains, is all tell, no show. This is a man who won a multiversal war against infinite variants of himself, has conquered the multiverse, condensed it into a singular timeline, and ruled over it for eternity, creating the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, basically time cops, to destroy any branch timelines that form to prevent a variant of himself from ever being born, therefore securing his position at the top. And yet we never see any of that. But whatever. It was told to us in a Disney Plus show, which has significantly less of a budget than the movies, and that would take a lot of CGI to pull off. He Who Remains basically got bored and allowed himself to die, which led to the multiverse splintering out once more. Although we do find out that he had contingencies as well. But we next see Kang in Ant-Man Quantumania, where again, we're told about all of the devastation he caused, which resulted in him being exiled by his variants, and any hope of escaping the quantum realm was squandered by 1987 Earth technology. Keep in mind that Kang and his tech come from the 30th century. He already has established his rule in the area of the quantum realm, so we don't get to actually see him conquer anything. And then he gets beat by ants. Finally, we see Kang again in Loki Season 2, where he reprises his variant, He Who Remains, and portrays a new variant, Victor Timely. This variant gets spaghettified. And spaghettified again. And again. And again. And again. And again. And again. And again. We aren't shown what kind of threat Kang is, and with all the lawsuit drama and firing of Kang's actor Jonathan Majors, Kang may just get swept under the rug. Although, variants can look like anyone, so recasting literally isn't an issue here. The point here is that Kang was clearly handled in a rushed way, and it took away any and all stakes the character could have had. If Marvel wants to do Doom correctly, they need to go down the Thanos route and not the Kang route. So, as mentioned, Doom could be in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. Marvel could establish the threat and end with the Four and Doom finding a similar fate to the Doom of the original Fantastic Four movie, or Captain America, or Captain Carter from What If, where the Four and Doom somehow get displaced in time or frozen or whatever, and end up in present-day MCU. Maybe in whatever universe they're in, this alternate S.H.I.E.L.D. decides to keep a bunch of frozen heroes on ice until the world needs them. After defeating Galactus, the group are frozen as a result, and years later are revived when Galactus returns. This S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't know Doom was an antagonist, however, and the last scene ends with Doom looking evil and maybe a slight menacing chuckle as he now has his hands on present-day Stark tech, or something allowing him to escape his universe. Now, variants can look like anyone, as I mentioned, so it is possible that Doom just looks like Tony Stark. Or maybe this Doom is going to be a Tony from another universe. Marvel likes to take inspiration from the comics, and there are instances where something similar happens. Dr. Doom takes up the Iron Man mantle in 2016's infamous Iron Man, but perhaps a more accurate comic is 2010's What If Iron Man Demon in an Armor, where Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom, in their college years, conduct an experiment that results in their minds swapping, and Tony left without his memory. Tony, in Doom's body, gets deported and is forced to live a life of poverty, while Doom, in Tony's body, lives a life of wealth as the sole heir of Stark Industries. In the comic, he does make his own Iron Man-type suit, so perhaps this is why this Doom looks like Tony Stark. Marvel may follow the comic for this alternate universe story, which will result in Doom wreaking havoc to the multiverse. Or maybe, instead of Doom's mind inside Tony's body, this Doom just is Tony Stark. What if this Doom is a Tony variant that turned to a life of villainy? What moment in our Tony's life could have gone differently? Well, let's take a deep dive down Tony Stark's notable moments, shall we? In Iron Man 1, maybe after being kidnapped by terrorists and escaping, this Tony creates his new Iron Man suit. He decides not to paint it because that'll just take up too much time. He just needs to learn to fly, trick it out with weapons, and get back out there. Tony flies back to the Middle East, this time not to save the innocents or stop the Jericho missiles from falling in the wrong hands. No, he doesn't care about all that. He was just held captive for months. He was tortured. Now all he wants is revenge, thus leading him down a path that one cannot easily stray from. In Iron Man 2, maybe Rhodey dies at the hands of Whiplash and Justin Hammer, which sends Tony off the deep end, leading him to seek revenge. Or in Iron Man 3, maybe Pepper doesn't survive the Extremis serum, which leads Tony down that dark path. Whatever the case, villains are more often made by something traumatic as opposed to being born that way. At least these days they are. So hear me out. What if, in an alternate reality, Thanos snapped, but this time Pepper dies, Strange survives, and Ant-Man is either dusted with the rest of the crew or does not get freed from the quantum realm? So the remaining Avengers find Thanos a week later, only to find that he used the stones to destroy the stones, and a guilty Thor beheads him. 5 years pass, with Scott not in the picture, and the possibility of time travel unknown to the Avengers. Tony is a wreck. He's doing everything he can to fix things, but nothing seems to work, so he turns to the occult and begins learning sorcery from Stephen Strange. Tony's resolve is so great that he easily outclasses Strange at every turn. But even as a master of the mystic arts, Tony still cannot undo what has been done. That is until he and Strange hear of a witch causing some problems in a small American town. Thinking Wanda died, they're in shock and awe when they find her holding an entire town hostage with a hex, and was even able to seemingly bring Vision back to life. Tony and Strange get through to Wanda and dispel the hex, but another witch reveals herself, and she is longing for the powers of the Scarlet Witch. Agatha Harkness seems threatening at first, but Tony, Strange, and Wanda dispel her pretty quickly. But an odd book she was reading falls at Tony's feet, and he begins reading it. It is called The Darkhold for a reason. As Tony keeps reading the book, he can't believe his eyes. This book is showing him spells that can do what he's been searching for. Bringing back the loved ones, dream walking into different dimensions. This is incredible, he thinks. Strange tries to get the book back from Tony, warning him that this book is evil and will corrupt his mind. But all he's hearing is that Strange wants to stop him from saving Pepper. In a panic, Tony flips to a random page, or maybe the book turns to the page itself. Either way, in order to get Strange to back off, Tony reads the first thing he sees. In a flash, Tony's eyes begin to glow, his mouth falls agape, and in an instant, Tony regains his composure, feeling incredible, juiced up even. Strange is nowhere to be seen, however. Upon further realization and rereading the page, Tony realizes he has absorbed Strange's power, and Strange along with it, and it feels good. Tony, now power-hungry and longing to bring Pepper back, begins absorbing every magical creature he can find, starting with Wanda and Agatha. But why stop there? After Tony's absorption spree comes to a close, he is now the last remaining sorcerer, and thus sits as Sorcerer Supreme. With this power, he attempts to bring Pepper back to life, but it still isn't enough. But why? Is he just not powerful enough? Is the consequences of using the Darkhold finally catching up with him? No matter. The book mentioned other realities and how to access them. Perfect. He'll keep absorbing more and more creatures from across the multiverse if he has to. Tony, unaware of what may be lurking in other universes, builds one more suit of armor, like old times. A sleek silver model, countered with a nice green outfit. He opens a portal and steps through into the unknown with only one thing on his mind. He will bring doom to anyone who tries to stop him. Now that was just my thoughts on how Robert Downey Jr. Doom could fit into the MCU. Funny enough, apparently, there is a new comic series dropping in 2025 titled One World Under Doom, where Doom becomes Sorcerer Supreme and rises to power. And I definitely used inspiration from that concept in the last story, as well as more recent Marvel properties, such as What If and WandaVision, since those will all be somewhat fresh in the people's minds when Avengers Doomsday drops. But leave your thoughts and theories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.